Hi, Tangia here, Leadership and Mindset Specialist for real estate principals, managers, and property leaders that really want to grow themselves, their people, and their business in the least amount of time. Now, in this very stylized, fabulous looking space, looking even more fabulous, is a woman, a key leader of influence based in South Australia who has been in the industry for 20 years and still looks this good, multi-award winning agent, business owner, and operator who runs 2 offices down in South Australia with 22 people, recently won some significant awards. I still think I need a bit of a drum roll for people like you. Valerie Timms, Director of Timms Real Estate. Welcome, how are you?
I'm really well, Tanja. Thank you. And what a fabulous introduction that was. Much appreciated.
You're really welcome. I love meeting people like you who have stuck at something for so long, courageously stepped out. We were talking before I hit record. You said you were the #1 Ray White agent and then, led their #1 office for some years. And obviously you, like many others, had the idea of doing your own thing and carving your own path, which is quite courageous and not easy. So congratulations on your success, building 2 beautiful looking, fabulous offices. I will have to come in and have a look in myself when I'm down in South Australia. So thank you for joining us and having this conversation around what you believe constitutes effective leadership, particularly in these changing and challenging times.
Thank you, Tanja, for the opportunity. Much appreciated.
Yeah, you're really welcome. So I mentioned briefly, you've won a lot of awards. Just give us a heads up on some of the recent ones you've won in accordance with the Real Estate Institute of South Australia.
Okay, so 2 Saturdays ago, we were fortunate enough to, personally, I won the Gold Hills and Fluorio Salesperson Award. My salesperson, Sean, won the Gold Southern Award. We came silver in marketing and communications, which we're still small, but we tip into the large category. So we were kind of up against the big guns. So it was really great to get silver. And we also got bronze for large residential agency and bronze for project marketing. Was there anything else? Yes, we were the runner-up for the Real Estate Employers Federation Employer of the Year, South Australia.
Wow. Now that's a pretty important award because that's your people choosing you as a destination to work in as preferred space. So that's amazing. Congratulations. Fist bump for you. Well done. Congratulations on your leadership. Why do you think, you mentioned before and we were talking off air that, you're still relatively small and boutique as a business and up against some multi-office, bigger names and bigger brands. What do you think had you kind of nudge in there and then succeed or certainly get silver in the marketing and comms, which could be tricky if you don't have the bigger budgets? Why do you think you were acknowledged at that level?
I think we were acknowledged at that level because of our grassroots approach. In Adelaide, little old Adelaide, I think people love the underdog, and we very much come in as the underdog, under the radar in this industry, but we really sort of started to emerge with our marketing and our branding and our customer-centric approach, which I think has surprised some people. So I think whilst we're still small, what we have is a really great value proposition for agents and for customers. And I think once you unpack that and put it into a submission where you're kind of forced to work with 500-word blocks, I think we've just pulled that together. And it's been a great process too, because I personally wrote on those, 7 submissions this year. Wow. And it really helps you to understand just how much you're offering. So I think we've just kind of slipped in under the radar. We've been the surprise package this year.
Yeah. But obviously your results speak for themselves. So you could blow your own trumpet, but if you didn't have case studies and evidence to demonstrate how you are, creating great cultures in your business, or you are communicating effectively with your market or servicing your clients, then no one's going to choose you for a bronze, silver or gold award. So once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
So we would love to hear from you. You are one of our key leaders of influence for Inspiring Greatness. That's 10 days away in Adelaide, which is super
Is
exciting.
that all?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the grey hairs show. No, it's all good. And one of the questions I've been asking in these Zoom interviews is, Valerie, tell me what you're doing to keep your team focused on what matters in a very noisy and distracting market right now. How are you keeping your people inspired to keep delivering great results?
Yeah, so I think there are a number of elements to that answer, but for the sake of time,
Yeah.
etc., I think probably the most critical one at the moment is helping each one of my team create some work-life balance. So I think we've all been in a situation where we've been completely overworked, stressed out, frazzled, and we know that multitasking doesn't work. It just actually lowers productivity. We all come across personal issues from time to time, and part of one of the big changes we made earlier in the year was to create what we call the Timms Health and Wellbeing Program.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so that's multifaceted, and it encapsulated just some of what we were already doing, but it helped us to really add some other elements. And one of those is we offer free psychology to our team, and our company's psychologist, I think she's now, you're from Tim's, take a number. So there's a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's a reality. We know there are leaders and teams experiencing insane amounts of overwhelm, stress,
Yeah.
anxiety, worry, concern, and uncertainty about the future. And one of the
Yeah.
things I'm personally passionate about, Valerie, is all this noise of changing in market correction and conditions and
Yeah.
tightening up lending and prop tech investment. It can be a
Yeah.
massive distraction, and
Yeah.
there's fundamentals that you could be doing in your business today that would have you not leave potential money and leads and clients on
Yeah.
your competitors' doors tomorrow. So, it's not an excuse to not perform. It's a reality, but we've got to
Yeah.
focus on the area we can influence.
Yeah, I think what I've discovered over the almost 20 years that I've been in this industry is that when salespeople get, well, number one, if they're unhappy with their environment or their leadership or their systems and processes that are around them, they don't perform to their best. But probably most importantly, when they're overworked and they don't have support systems around them, they just can't be effective. So what done is kind of go through the team, ensure that people who need personal assistance, we are actually helping them find them and employ them for them. We've teamed up a couple of our salespeople who really just needed to be able to have a weekend off a month and get some lifestyle because they're performing to a high level, but they're working too hard.
Yeah.
So I think the way of the future is, people need to either be working in teams or they need to join forces, or at a minimum, pick a buddy in the office where you can say, hey, you do my opens this weekend, you can have all my leads that come through, and I'll do vice versa. And that at least gives people some balance and some perspective.
Yeah, so really looking at work-life integration, putting your health and well-being of your people as paramount in these uncertain times. And for some, it's very unfamiliar times. They haven't worked in a market like this. And then creating opportunities for them to achieve integration and balance. So they're not doing the hard grind, and then it's affecting their mojo and their health, and then they're overwhelmed and they're not good to themselves, their families, the business, or certainly the clients at that state. So that's really your main strategy, is it? Just to take care of your people and make sure their mental state, health and well-being is really looked after.
Absolutely. I think that's the platform. So, it's like when you're building the house, you got to lay the foundation down. And then, of course, there are so many layers that go on top of that, training, role play, scripts and dialogues. But there's no point doing all of that if the base isn't set.
For sure, yeah. So strategies don't work unless their state is high.
Yes.
Potentially. Great. So that's just a couple of tips for those that are watching that are keen to see, well, how can we be an employer of choice, and how can we be a multi-award winning operator in these changing and challenging times? Put your people's health and well-being as number one, and provide free psychology or support or counseling. There's various resources available, and also help them have some work-life balance and or integration by sharing the workload and at least creating a safe space to have some dialogue if I feel stuck. So
Yes.
these are just some of the things that you'll be sharing, Valerie, as our key leader of influence at Inspiring Greatness in Adelaide on the 13th and 14th. You're going to be deconstructing Embody, which is the third of the 6 empowered leadership practices. You've got a whole, I love it, you've got a whole charter of things that you need to do as a team to keep your culture and your agreements in place to have high morale, something
Yes.
that's a huge opportunity for many companies. So we are thrilled to have you and really look forward to learning from you. We also know you're on the tools too as a listing selling agent and leader of 2 offices. So
Yes.
yet you have booked a table for your team, you've cleared 2 days to be there. For those
Yes.
leaders that are watching this going, yeah, look, I saw the ad or I've seen the videos and it sounds interesting, but I just can't take time off work right now.
Mm.
What would you say?
I would say I think you can't afford to not take time off work right now. I think November's a particularly strategic month out of the year. I know it's getting busy, but if you're not planning now for what's happening in January, you're really going to be behind the 8 ball before we even start. I went to a similar event earlier in the year and the value I gained out of it was incredible. Similar numbers of people, similar roundtable conversation with a number of different speakers. I can tell you now my whole business was revolutionized. It gave me the courage to come back and make some really big changes. So when I mentioned we're 2 offices, we were 4 before. And so we've actually expanded size of offices but consolidated from 4 to 2. Smart business, less overheads, better environments for the sales team. And I don't think without the mentoring from just people in the room, you know, as well as the speakers, that I would have had the courage to do that.
Wow,
So
really good.
one thing like that can be major. Yeah.
Great example. And that's the feedback too, Valerie, we had from our first event in March, that there really weren't any egos in the room. They were leaders and at some stages, yes, your competitor, but we never saw anyone withholding information or keeping secret source recipes to themselves. Everyone was actively supporting each other and sharing their recipes
Yes.
for success in service of the industry rising and thriving. Some great
Yeah.
networks were shared, but also we've had some incredible case studies of people growing their business by 90% in 4 weeks, 20% growth in GP after 30 actions. So real solid case studies. You can see those on the website. So if you would love to see Valerie from Timms Real Estate and meet some of her team and hear from all of our other key leaders of influence, we'd love to see you in Adelaide on the 13th and 14th of November. It's just 10 days away, but maybe you're seeing this video a little later, so check out the website www.inspiringgreatness2018.com.au, scroll down, click Adelaide and book your seat with our $200 off offer right now. Remember, it's completely tax deductible, and I think in Adelaide we're looking at between 6 to 8 CPD points as well. So Valerie, thank you for your time. Thanks for sharing some of the reasons why you and your team are being recognised as leaders in the industry down there, and we would look forward to seeing you at Inspiring Greatness.
Yes, thank you. And can I say to anyone who's listening, the price of the event is sensational. And so often we have to fly interstate. So remember, you can also deduct the cost of all of your flights. Adelaide, we're constantly having to fly interstate for great conferences, and it's so beautiful. Thank you that you're coming to us.
You are welcome. It's our pleasure. I have a real soft spot for Adelaide for many reasons: the architecture, the food, the culture, WOMAD. Bit of a fan of good old WOMAD. So yeah, can't wait to see you there. Thanks for sharing some insights today, and we'll see you in Adelaide in a couple of days.